Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and 2025 is upon us. And, one of the things that we go through at our company, and I think every company does, is, we have 5, we have 8, we have 12 initiatives that we have to get our companies or our performance to the next level. And every company goes through it, present company included. And I think about what's going on in the workplace. And when you think about 2025, I always cite this statistic: 71% of people are neutral or actively disengaged, and 85% of people lack self-awareness, according to Tasha Eurich in her study, which is one of my favorite studies. And it puts a lot of pressure on leaders today. I want to show you of the latest Gallup organization poll and statistics and article. It's fascinating what's going on, but I think it leads us to two solutions that I think companies, if they implement them, it will dramatically help the workplace in the face of change. Let me share those with you. So when I look at a couple of the studies that came out, let me show you the first one. They're talking about the Great Detachment, okay? They're talking about the Great Detachment, and they're talking about people who are extremely satisfied versus watching or actively seeking a new job. Look at those numbers. We're up over 51% of people, and that is, post-COVID. So detachment, again, is threatening performance. Now, how do we create detachment? We sit down and talk to our people, find out where they want to go. I mean, it's not rocket science, yet we tend to look at things very tactically and strategically. So with that being said, when we look at those things, there's another part of their study that was even more revealing, and that is follows. AI stalls in the workplace. Now, ironically, we're building out a lot of AI tools. I would share this with you more than anything. I think AI is here to stay, but is it going to replace the conversation that he or she as a leader needs to have with their employees? No. I just had a conversation yesterday with somebody who was talking about, they're going through automation, they're going through AI, they're doing all these things, and et cetera, et cetera. And I started to role play with the person. And I said, well, what would you say? What would you have your leader say if they said, is AI replacing my job? She said, yeah, I know. I got to look at that. I said, no. What would you say? I'm role playing. She couldn't do it. Now, good person. I like her a lot. She's at one of our prospective client sites. I go, if you're not prepared, they're not prepared because you're really vested in this. She said, wow, you're right. And I said, it's going to conjure up some challenges that we all have. Now, this one, which is blocking and tackling, so fundamental, and it goes to Tasha Eurich's study about self-awareness, but it cracks me up because we all think we give feedback great. We all take feedback well. Look at this. We're a strength-based coaching training organization, and we tell people all the time, start with the good things. Now, while we're intentional doing that, 35% of direct reports think that they're recognized for good work. Managers said almost 60%. It's a 25% disparagement. Provides weekly feedback. Employees said only 20%. Leaders said 50. You want to know the truth? It should be at 80 to 90%. Builds a collaborative team. Only 30% of employees said that was true. 42% of leaders said that. Now, think about that for a second. Even leaders are saying we're not even over the halfway mark. So there are two things that we need to do more than anything to build a coaching culture, to build an organization and a team that is positive, engaged, producing worthwhile, valuable work. Two things. Number one, we need to have conversations with our people. Now, anybody who knows me, and I'll see if I have one of the images up I can bring here, but anybody who knows me, and I think I don't know if I have it, but when we talk about what we do at Progress Coaching, we have a coaching framework called QALMS, QALMS. The M is the motivator. When you find out where somebody wants to go, and the study I didn't put in here is McKinsey said in Q4 2022, and some studies have gotten worse than this, 42% of people are actively looking for jobs due to a lack of career development and coaching. Wherever your people want to go, and if you help them, you've got an engaged employee. And I get the question all the time, but what if it means leaving my team? I said, if you're not going to help them, they've already mentally left. If you're not going to help your people go where they want to go, and they don't have to be exclusive from each other, but it's number one solution. We as leaders have to practice these conversation skills. We have to practice having these conversations. Look at the feedback disparagement. We all think we probably give great feedback. Perception-wise from our employees, we significantly are unaware that we don't do it as well. Number two, we have to teach employees some grace and latitude. I'll give you an example. We have 4 clients right now going through some type of major change management, change, business transformation type of imperatives. And people get so charged up. They get so angry when they hear something from leaders. And I was just in a meeting with a bunch of employees. They said, well, you don't understand, what's going to happen? And they start talking about themselves because they heard a snippet. I said, well, what exactly did he say? Well, I just got the impression. I said, I didn't ask your impression. Calmly take a second, take a deep breath. What did he specifically say? Well, he said that the company's going to be going through a lot of change. I said, why is that? Well, I don't know. And I said, you seem really upset for something you don't know. And I said, no, don't get mad. What if the company chose to not change to satisfy all the people? He said, well, that's not what I'm suggesting. Now he's calm. I'm slowing my pace down, which I don't do very well. And all of a sudden, I said, well, what are you saying? He goes, well, I'm not saying, we shouldn't change. I'm just saying these mass sweeping changes that he's suggesting. I said, did he say the words mass sweeping changes? Well, no, but that's the impression I got. I go, listen to what you said. Have you gone to him and said, hey, watch your presentation. I listened. I want to share with you that I'm in. I'd like more context. Is that cool with you? And this guy looked at me and goes, no, I haven't done that. I said, so you've inserted the words mass sweeping. And I'll share this with you. And I think I've got this here. Here we go. I believe that the reason leaders need to practice conversations is because we react emotionally. We have an emotional reaction. We react, we interpret, we articulate, we reflect. We rarely get to reflection. What we have to do is reverse those R's. We have to start with reflection and react later on. See, when we interpret, mass sweeping changes was never said. Now, there could be mass sweeping changes. The president of this company didn't say that. And then I asked this gentleman, I said, I have to ask you something. And I hope you're really cool with this. And he said, what's that? I said, have you talked to other employees about this? He said, well, yeah. I said, calmly? We started laughing. He goes, no, probably not. And I go, so what you've done is you've kicked up dust. You've stressed other people out because you got it off your chest. Man, you're pissed off. Crap, man. This is mass sweeping changes are coming. You think you were a positive influence or maybe someone who got things kicked up a little bit? He said, I probably got things kicked up. I said, I do the same thing. I said, we all do it, right? So what do you think the company needs in the face of change? He's looking around. I said, no, seriously, what do you think the company needs? He said, probably calmness and positivity. I said, yeah. I said, give leaders latitude. So number one, leaders need to learn how to have these conversations. I don't know if I did it flawlessly. I'm sure I didn't. Yet I knew the components of what I needed to draw upon as a coach to calm this guy down. Because when we tell one person, boy, they tell 3 people. Those 3 people tell 6 people. Those 6 people, now we're up to 70, 80 people have heard mass sweeping changes. It's not what was said. So we are emotional interpreters. We are emotional leaders, listeners, and leaders of other people. Second thing is we have to teach people how to receive feedback and coaching. Much to that study done by Gallup. We need to go seek it and say thank you to people. It's tough giving people feedback. When you get this, okay, who the heck wants to go visit that person again? My God, put your attitude away. I once had someone do that and she stuck her hip out and she's rolled her eyes. I go, do you practice that? She goes, what? I go, sticking your ass out in discontent. And she looked at me and she goes, is that what I'm doing? I go, yeah. I said, every time I speak, you disagree with something. You have no idea of the verbal expressions and the body language you give me. It's like, I don't even want to be near you. She looked at me, and that was an employee from almost 15, 16 years ago, an intern I had who turned out to be the best employee I've ever had in my life. So sometimes we don't know. So number one, leaders need to practice having these conversations, not get trained in coaching, practice the heck out of them because change is a coming. Number two, we have to position our employee pool of people to have some latitude and grace and not literally, react to every single thing and take it out of context. But we have to practice getting feedback and coaching. We have to practice listening. And we have to practice just absorbing. That's what we need to do. So number one, we need leaders coaching and conversationally becoming really, really good. My wife always laughs at me. She said, "You're comfortable in almost every situation." I said, "Well, this doesn't mean I don't have discomfort. Yet I am, for the most part, very comfortable, even if there's conflict. The reason being is I'm drawing upon what I've learned. But more importantly, I'm drawing upon my experience of practice." So number one, leaders have got to get trained, but they've got to practice. Number two, we also have to practice getting and receiving as individual contributors and employees and leaders as well. Yet when you have a leader, I always tell this to employees. If you've never led a team, please withhold your judgment because you have no idea. 7 out of 10 people are neutral or actively disengaged. There's attitudes. And I love to confront employees. I said, "Well, how would you handle it?" "I just fire them." I said, "Oh, so you like lawsuits, huh?" "What do you mean?" I said, "Person could get sued. The company could get sued. You can't just toss people out right away because you deem it appropriate," which goes to what? A lack of maturity as it relates to what leadership really is. So again, bringing these parties together is really important. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was helpful. So number one, don't just train your leaders, get them practicing these situational coaching conversations. Number two, have your people practice what we call coachability. And we have products in both. And again, I wanted to keep this 100% educational. I'm not going to tell you what the product names are. If you want to reach out to us, great. But the point being is bringing those parties together. What we tend to do is this: top down, got to train leaders. They got to lead. They got to coach. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. We would love to chat with you. I hope this made sense.